Hey guys, welcome back. It's Josh with the Financial Advisor Car Guy. This week I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about Kelley Blue Book and all that they offer, kind of the pros and cons to them, how to use them, why you'd want to use them, and we're just gonna walk right through their website. So I'm gonna go ahead and hold up my iPad here. We're gonna do this together, and I hope that you can see this okay. But basically what you do is pretty straightforward, right? You first click on your current car. Oh, I don't really want to do that. I just clicked into the cash offer deal. Let's go back. So we're going to go ahead and I don't know the VIN number, but what we're going to go ahead and do is hit the make and model. And I'm going to go ahead and use my wife's pretty new Mach-E just to kind of talk about depreciation and how it works. Her car, it's a 2021. We bought it in January of 2022. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to hit make and model, which for some reason didn't update here. Let's refresh. Okay, make and model, there we go. So I'm gonna say 2021, make, Ford, model. We're gonna go down here to Mustang Mach-E, okay? Mileage, we have about 8,100 miles on that thing, okay? And then I'm gonna key in my zip code. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now why the zip code is important. The way that these things work, it's kind of an algorithm for local sales, regional sales, statewide sales. It's going to take into effect all the options that we're about to input, and it's going to find a fair market value based on what has historically sold. So when we talk about the car market last year, or earlier this year even, when cars were selling way above MSRP brand new, when used cars were selling for 20% more than they were a year prior, all those numbers are in here now because they're all historical recorded sales. So what we're gonna do is our car is a premium. So I'm gonna hit the premium button, hit next. I haven't done this already, so I don't know what it's gonna tell me. But I like to, there's two options here for equipment. Select your options or price with standard. I always do select your options, even if I'm not changing anything away from standard. I like the opportunity to kind of click in there and see what the options were. Okay, especially when you're browsing for a car, this is super valuable. So I'm gonna go ahead and for engine, we have dual electric motors, but we also have extended range. So I'm gonna go ahead and click that button. We are all-wheel drive. We have all the braking and traction, steering is correct. Let's click on interior. We have all these packages, nothing unchecked. Exterior, we have all of them except a couple, right? No tow package. We don't have the tow package. We also don't have the basic alloy wheels, which come on the lower model, and we don't have the oversized premiums, which come on the GT. We have your regular premium wheels, so that's checked. We also do not have a grille guard, so I'm not gonna check that. We have all three packages, as all premiums do, and ours is red. So now I'm gonna hit next. And it says, great, we've got options. There's two things you can select here. One is get a trade-in and private party values, and that's gonna be what most often you're gonna click on. The second option is get a cash offer for your specific vehicle. Now, I'm gonna pause right there for a moment and explain what that one is. Kelley Blue Book itself has been around for nearly 100 years. They were established, I don't know, 1926 or something like that. And over the years, they've been very, very good at what they do, and there hasn't been a lot of competition. There's a few, but not a lot. Kelley Blue Book has become kind of synonymous with auto values. And I wanna say it was maybe 10 or 15 years ago, the Auto Trader company purchased Kelley Blue Book. So they're one group now. And what Kelley Blue Book does is it partners with local lots and dealerships as well as other private parties to sell vehicles. Now, if I wanted to sell my Mustang Mach-E, we're gonna get there, but I'm gonna show you what this is. At the end, after I've looked at my private party value, I can also click on let's go ahead and get started, and I can list my car on Auto Trader right through the Blue Book platform. So they've made it very easy to have a one-stop shop for kind of all things car sales. You know, whether you're looking for the value, whether you're looking for historical data, whether you're looking to buy. That's the other thing is after I do all this, I could say, are you in the market for one of these? And that's kind of cool. So We're gonna continue, but then we're gonna talk a little more. All right, so like I said, for this sake, I'm gonna go ahead and click on Get Your Trade-In and Private Party Value. All right, so it's gonna do some calculating. Regardless of if my car is 1 year old or 20 years old, it's gonna give me these same 4 options. We've got fair, which they would suggest 20% of cars fall into. Good, which 50%, 1 in 2 cars fall under good. 28% fall under very good, and only 2% of cars would be considered excellent. Now, excellent says looks new and is in excellent mechanical condition. I'm gonna say that's what my Mach-E is. But before we click next, we're gonna talk about these other 3. So very good says has minor cosmetic defects, but is in excellent mechanical condition. So that means it runs and drives beautifully, it's well maintained, but maybe it has some door dings, or maybe there's a few scratches under the bumper, or whatever. Maybe there's curb rash on the rim. But mechanically, it's in perfect shape. It is a running and driving car that is in need of nothing, okay? Maybe other than some touch-up. Good. This, again, 50% of cars fall here. Good. Has some repairable cosmetic defects and is free of major mechanical problems. So it might have minor mechanical problems. It might, you know, I don't know what comes to mind right off the top. Maybe it has an exhaust leak, or maybe it drips a drop of oil every 10,000 miles or something, right? Maybe it's gonna be minor, but it's gonna be repairable. Same thing with cosmetic. It's gonna have some dings and dents and scratches, none of which are, you know, we're not talking rusted out. We're not talking about bent frames. We're not talking about things like that. These are gonna be very minor nicks and scratches and bumps and bruises, but 50% of cars fall in there. The bottom 20%, fair value. What this means is these are cars that require some mechanical repairs. It doesn't even discuss physical repairs. So it could have a completely smashed in fender. It could have a completely destroyed trunk lid, or missing a bumper, for crying out loud. Like, it doesn't specify, it just says requires some mechanical repair. Now, that is open to interpretation, right? I'm gonna think that my car's in better condition than a buyer might. So I might list my car under good, but when I have somebody, or one better, I might say very good. I might have a buyer potentially coming to look at a vehicle, and they might say, you know what? I think it's only good, right? I don't think it's in excellent mechanical condition because it needs a water pump or an alternator or whatever. Maybe it has repairable cosmetic defects, not just minor cosmetic defects like a very good car would. So all that to say, we're gonna proceed forward with excellent because our Mach-E is in perfect shape. There's 0 wrong, no bruises, no dents, no nicks, nothing. Perfect condition outside of being a little dusty. All right, now it's gonna give us some more options. It's gonna say, great, we're calculating, okay? It's searching transaction data. So it's looking nationwide, but also locally for different transactions that have taken place for premium Mach-E's. And it's gonna do a few other things too, but I waited too long. So I'm gonna say I do not want to give them my opinion. I'm gonna keep moving. It does tell me that there have been open recalls on this vehicle. It says 6 recalls were found. So I can click this arrow and it's gonna tell me if my car is affected by any of these recalls. Now, my car would have been affected by every one of these, but because it has an over-the-air software update that comes through every so often, all those have been remedied, which is awesome. That's awesome, okay? Repair estimator, I can click into there. Now again, for this car, there aren't any, but let's say I was selling my R8 and I needed a new air filter. I don't know. I can go in there and I can find air filter and it's gonna estimate the price. It's gonna tell me cost of parts and labor. So that's a fantastic tool, again, if you're looking to buy a car. What we're gonna do is we're gonna click on private party, okay? Because if I'm gonna sell my vehicle, I'm likely to just put it on Auto Trader, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, whatever it is, and I'm gonna try to sell the car privately. What it's gonna tell me is that my car private party, right, is worth anywhere from $52,600 to $56,700, with an average private party value sale price of $54,800. Okay, so like I said, I didn't do this before I'm doing this live. So what's interesting to me is I paid roughly, I'm gonna say 60, I wanna say the car cost me about $62,000. Now, if it's selling for as much as $57,000, that's only $5,000 less than my purchase price 11 and a half months ago, 8,200 miles ago. That's pretty amazing depreciation. That's 7% or something like that. Once upon a time, like 2 years ago and beyond, a car would lose 15 to 20% of its value the moment you drove a new car off the lot. They were depreciated that quickly just by putting a mile on that car. The moment it's titled, the moment it's driven, it loses 15 to 20% value. Now this car, we've done more than just drive it off the lot. We've actually traveled in it. We've taken it to the coast. We've taken it down to Napa. We've driven it, into San Francisco, downtown. We've put 8,000+ miles on this car in 11+ months, and it's only depreciated $5,000. Now that is incredible to me. Now, more than that, I'm gonna show you this. They don't do this for every car, but because our car is relatively new, they show us these incentives and things on the sidebar over here. So I'm gonna show you this screen once again. I haven't clicked on anything or changed anything, but over here, you're gonna see these ad bars. Now what you're seeing are Ford ads. Now, kind of interesting. They're trying to sell me a new Mach-E because they don't know. I did say this was my car, but they don't know that that's my car. I could just be putting in information for a generic Mach-E that maybe I'm looking to buy. So I'm a target now, right? I'm gonna start seeing this stuff in my social media and all that junk because I searched for it on my iPad here. But watch this, okay? I can purchase a Mach-E, base model, 2022 Mach-E. The MSRP for this car, $43,895, okay? Oops, I don't know if you can see that. $43,895 for a base model Mach-E, and that's gonna give me a monthly payment of $759.82. Assuming I get Ford's excellent credit rating of 1.5%, whatever, all the fine print. But the fascinating thing is they're telling me my used premium is worth almost $57,000, but a brand new base model is worth $44,000. Fascinating. Yeah, interesting. So that's kind of interesting to me that I could go buy a Ford right here instead of, anyway, the long and short of it is, I like our car and it's a great one, it's a premium. Now, if I click trade-in, okay, trade-in's gonna move these numbers around a little bit. Come on, here it comes. Average trade-in value, $50,988. So I could trade it in for a base model and they're gonna give me money back. I could also list it, trade in again, 53 is nearly what the high is, 49 is the low. If I'm gonna trade this car in, I'm gonna show them this report and say, hey, listen, I honestly believe my car is in perfect, excellent condition. I would say that I'm much closer to that 52.8 or almost 53,000 on the high end of trade, because what they're gonna do is turn around and they're gonna sell it, and they're gonna sell this car used for more than private party. Private party is person to person, which is less than retail. They're likely to list my car for nearly MSRP, again, $62,000. So they stand to make $8,000 or $9,000 on that trade-in value. So don't necessarily rush to trade something in. Do it only if you can see the trade-in value isn't much less than the private party, or if you don't have time or energy to sell a vehicle and you want to just not deal with it. I have traded in vehicles before. I don't like that because I take a hit. I can sell it for more privately every time, but it's a timing thing. So when we bought the Mach-E, we didn't trade anything in. We were replacing my wife's BMW, and it took me a couple of months to sell, but the trade-in on that car was like $4,000, and I sold it private party for $7,500. I was asking more than that, and he talked me down a little bit. We met sort of in the middle, but I mean, I got almost double what trade-in was. And so anyway, And I sold it for more than Blue Book. So that's kind of where I was going with this, is realize that this is kind of a guide. This is sort of the roadmap to help you price your vehicle and see what you should pay for a vehicle. It is not the gold standard, okay? Dealerships do use Blue Book, regardless of rumors on the internet that dealers don't. They do. I've been to dealers where they've shown me physical Blue Book reports, where they've shown me physical Carfax reports. Those are not just tools for people like you and I. The dealers use them too. So the last two pieces I'm going to show you on the iPad before I set this thing down is instant cash offer. Now, this is in reference to what I said before about Auto Trader. I can go on here and I can instantly sell my car. There are people on here, buyers waiting. They've gone in and said, hey, I'm looking for a red 2021, Mustang Mach-E with less than 10,000 miles and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can click instant cash offer and there's likely a person on the other end who wants to buy my car. Will they give me Blue Book price? I don't know. I've actually never done this part, but I've seen this as an option. And for the right person, again, if timing is your thing, it's a cool tool because it just directly connects you to a buyer. But the other thing is there's dealers on here, and a lot of dealers are looking for inventory. So if there's a dealer in your area that wants to buy your car, do it through here, because then you've got the Blue Book report kind of as ammunition. If they say my car is worth $60,000, but the dealer is only going to give me 40, I could be like, no. Blue Book shows me that my car is worth $59,000 or $60,000. That's what I need for it. Okay. So it's a pretty cool tool. The other thing I wanted to show you is this donate your car. Now, donating your car is pretty cool. What it does is it partners with local nonprofits and national nonprofits for you to donate your vehicle. And there's a bunch of pre-approved, nonprofits on here. They'll pick up your car and then they basically give you a tax deductible receipt that you can write off on your taxes. So if I'm donating a $10,000 car, I get a $10,000 deduction on my tax return, which could be awesome. So those are the options. Kelley Blue Book is a fantastic tool. I'm gonna shut this thing down, but like I said, I've used it a handful of times. I buy cars, I sell cars all the time. It has become a true staple in my quiver. It's just another arrow, but the truth is it's pretty accurate because it does source information from across the United States. It knows what cars are kind of the hot item right now and what cars suck. It knows, time of sale, right? So if there's a ton of Dodge Challengers for sale that have been sitting on the market forever, the value starts to creep down because the supply and demand, the supply is outweighing the demand. But, a supercar or more exotic or a high-end luxury car, those types of things, it's not super accurate because there's not too many documented sales. And the other thing to realize is many of these documented sales are through dealers and are not necessarily person to person. The only way a person to person deal works through this thing is whatever information you're giving the DMV when you register it in your name. So, if I give somebody a bill of sale and it says I sold the car for $100, that's going to destroy the average, right? Because it's going to bring that thing down so far. You've got to be fairly close to accurate when you're doing those kind of things. And so they weed out a lot of that junk to give you as close to a real estimate as possible. But I would say that even then, Kelley Blue Book has been somewhat conservative. Lots of dealers sell right above Kelley Blue Book, especially, the last year and a half. Private party, I use it as a baseline, but quite frankly, I try to customize my cars and do things a little bit different. So most often I price them as if they're excellent, even though, they might have quirks with them, whatever that might be. Salvage title is another thing, right? What it didn't ask, which I found interesting, and maybe because it's still a brand new car, is it didn't used to do this, but Kelley Blue Book now, when you put in all the stuff that we did, before it calculates and gives you an estimate, there's 4 or 5 newer questions that it didn't used to ask. One of which is, has this car ever been, or are you the original owner? Yes or no? has it ever been in a rental fleet, or has it been a rental vehicle? Has it ever had any paint or body work? Does it have a branded title? One or two more. I feel like there's 5 or 6 questions total, but ideally you're going to answer no to all those things and move on with your life. But they're trying to weed out, because Turo is now a thing, right? If I go down to Hyundai and I buy a brand new Hyundai car and title it in my name, but I never ever drive it, I literally put it on Turo and let people rent it perpetually for years, and then I go to sell it. Yes, I owned it, but I never really used it. So was it a rental vehicle? Yeah, quite frankly, it was a rental vehicle. A lot of people drove it, So those are the kind of things they're trying to weed out. Obviously, paintwork, bodywork is important when you're grading, fair to excellent, good and very good. Again, that's where like nearly 80% of the cars fall. What else? That's pretty much it. Kelley Blue Book is a cool tool. Like I said, I use it all the time. I use it as a tool when I'm buying. When I look at a car, for example, my daughter right now, she's going to be 15 here in a few months and is really starting to figure out what she wants. And I talked about this a few episodes ago, but she's really clung to the idea of a Mitsubishi Eclipse. I'm leaning towards a GSX because it's all-wheel drive. Where we live, we get snow. There's actually snow on the ground right now. And I'd feel better with her driving an all-wheel drive vehicle. So I have looked at Subarus and things like that would be a nice commuter car for her. But she wants to grow up to be a car girl and kind of a tuner, and wants to be able to work on it and do customizing and stuff like that. And so the GSX, or the Eclipse period, is a really great platform for that. So I have been using Kelley Blue Book a lot in my searching for Blue Book, or for values on a lot of these cars, because we're looking at late 90s cars. They're 25 years old. Some have as little as 100,000 miles. Some have as many as 250,000. And I'm not looking at those ones because they're just a headache, I already know. But they're getting harder to find. And so the values have sort of plateaued. It's interesting because I can look at a base model RS, I believe. There's RS, GT, or no, RS, GS, GST, and then GSX. And the GST has a turbo, hence the T. The all-wheel drive GSX is turboed also, but the RS is the base model, and then the GS is the better one without the turbo. Anyway, the long and short of it is there's 4 different models. The bottom 3 are all pretty similar in value. Again, just supply and demand and popularity and all those things. They sell pretty quickly. You can get a really crappy base model car that's maybe not even running, is like $2,000. And then you can get an all-wheel drive turboed GSX car that's in great condition, and it might be like $8,000. So obviously 8,000 is a lot more than 2, but it would take $5,000 or $6,000 to get the $2,000 car to the point of the other one, and it's still not the other one. And so that's the conversation we're having. But Blue Book has been a fantastic tool along the way, because it gives me negotiating power with some of these sellers who, they probably know what they have, but sometimes they don't. And, it's a crapshoot out there. And so looking for the right deal, we got to be patient. But, again, this thing has Auto Trader built right in. So I can basically tell the system what I'm looking for, and it'll pull every result from Auto Trader, and it'll say, hey, there are 9 of them for sale in your state right now, within 200 miles or whatever it is. You're there. And it lists them, it shows photos, it tells me every option, all the things. So it's a pretty great tool, and I would encourage you guys to use it. If you guys need help using it, have questions about it or any of that stuff, please reach out. I am by no means an expert, but I used it enough to be comfortable with it and can walk you through pretty basic things. There are others. Edmunds has a really great price analyzer. NADA, N-A-D-A, is another one that's been around for a long, long time. They used to physically sell little black or little blue books with gold cover on it and whatever had their logo on it. I remember as a teenager buying those just to flip through. I was a nerd like that and thought that car values were really cool. So I'd buy the physical book and would flip through it and try to find, a 1972 Cadillac Eldorado or whatever it is, and I'd be like, oh, that car's worth $700. That's awesome. Doesn't matter. Anymore, you fine tune it digitally, electronically to what you want. And you know what? it's just way easier because you can analyze, zip code plays a factor, right? An all-wheel drive car does draw a little bit of a premium in an environment where we have 4 seasons and we get snow. A rear-wheel drive car isn't going to sell for the same premium here. It might sell better somewhere on the coast or wherever, drier climates maybe. Same thing with convertibles. It factors that in too. We get rain, we get snow, we get all those things. So maybe a convertible is not as desirable to have here in Central Oregon. But again, you go out to the coast or you go south into California, and convertibles are a fantastic thing to have. So the value there might be a little higher. I buy cars out of the area for that reason. If I can get a all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive, my Raptor, I bought it in Portland, Oregon. They don't get as much rain. Well, they get rain, yes. Snow. They don't get a lot of cold, freezing rain, snow, those kind of things. It's wet over there, but you don't have to have, big heavy duty 4-wheel drive to do a lot of that stuff. So they're easier to find and they don't draw the same premium as they would here. So I can save a few bucks. Yeah, I have to drive a couple of hours, but it's well worth it because I get acquainted with the vehicle on the drive home and I love that. So that's all I got for you guys this week. I rambled on a little bit more than I intended to. I thought this would be kind of a quick topic, but walking you guys through the tool, talking about the different options inside, it's good for you. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe, but mostly remember, may every investment you make be a good one. Till next time.